What if I told you that the greatest threat to your happiness is something you carry within you, something you might not even realize is controlling your decisions, your relationships, and essentially your entire life? In this video, we're going to dive deep into one of the biggest fears that we all face, but few recognize: the fear of being alone. We'll explore how this silent fear can lead to unhappy relationships, harmful decisions, and how it can rob us of the opportunity to truly discover who we are. If you've ever felt trapped in a relationship or made decisions that just don't feel right but can't figure out why, this video is for you. We're going to uncover what's behind this fear and how overcoming it could be the key to a more fulfilling and authentic life. You're about to discover how a simple fear might be undermining your potential and how facing it could open doors you didn't even know were closed. The fear of being alone is an emotion many of us try to avoid at all costs. But why is this fear so powerful? And what's really at stake when we let it control our lives? The fear of being alone and unhappy relationships. Let's start with the most obvious way the fear of being alone manifests in our relationships. According to a study published in the Journal of Social and Personal Relationships, people with a pronounced fear of being alone are significantly more likely to stay in unsatisfying relationships. This phenomenon is known as fear of loneliness, and it can lead to a series of negative consequences. A 2015 study conducted by Stephanie S. Spielman, a professor at Wayne State University, found that the fear of loneliness causes people to settle for partners who do not meet their emotional and psychological needs. They stay in these relationships not because they are happy or see a promising future, but because the fear of emptiness and solitude is even greater. Ask yourself, how many times have you seen someone endure an unhappy relationship simply out of fear of being alone? Now, think about the implications of this. Unhappy relationships don't just affect the couple involved, they have a ripple effect. Imagine the impact on children growing up in an environment where love is replaced by tolerance and affection is rare. This can shape their view of what a healthy relationship is, perpetuating a cycle of unhappiness and fear. If you found this video insightful, make sure to subscribe to our channel for more content on relationships and personal growth. By subscribing, you'll stay updated with our latest videos that can help you navigate life's challenges and improve your well-being. Also, we'd love to hear your thoughts. Leave a comment below and tell us, have you ever stayed in a relationship out of fear of being alone? How did it affect you? Your experiences could help others in similar situations. The impact on mental and physical health. But the fear of being alone doesn't just affect our emotional and relational lives. It can also have a significant impact on our mental and physical health. A study published in Perspectives on Psychological Science indicated that the fear of loneliness is strongly associated with a range of mental health issues, including anxiety and depression. Social isolation, which is often a consequence of the fear of loneliness, is linked to an increased risk of mortality. Research by psychologist Julianne Holt-Lundstad from Brigham Young University shows that social isolation can be as harmful to health as smoking 15 cigarettes a day. This data is shocking, but it makes us reflect. Are we sacrificing our health to avoid the discomfort of being alone? Moreover, loneliness has been associated with an increased risk of cardiovascular diseases, hypertension, and even dementia. Science is still uncovering exactly how isolation and loneliness affect the body, but what is already known is enough to make us think twice about the price we pay to avoid loneliness. Missed opportunity for self-discovery. Another aspect we often overlook is how the constant pursuit of companionship prevents us from truly knowing ourselves. When we avoid being alone at all costs, we miss the opportunity for introspection, to learn to deal with our thoughts and emotions without external distractions. Psychologist Sherry Turkle, author of the book Alone Together, argues that alone time is crucial for the development of a strong and authentic identity. However, the fear of being alone makes us constantly seek external validation, which prevents us from exploring our true selves. Ask yourself, how much time do you actually spend alone, reflecting on your passions, desires, and fears without the influence of others? The lack of alone time prevents us from asking deep and necessary questions about our lives. What is my true purpose? Am I living according to my values? These are questions that can only be answered when we are alone with our thoughts. But the fear of loneliness makes us ignore them, leading us to live superficial and unsatisfying lives. The danger of comfortable mediocrity. Perhaps the most insidious aspect of the fear of being alone is how it traps us in a life of comfortable mediocrity. Over time, we become accustomed to the company of others, even if that company isn't truly satisfying. We stop seeking new experiences, taking risks, and growing, all in the name of avoiding the discomfort of loneliness. Psychologist Abraham Maslow, known for his theory of the hierarchy of needs, argued that to achieve self-actualization, we must be willing to face the unknown and the uncertain. But when we are terrified of loneliness, we opt for the familiar, the safe, the known. This prevents us from growing and exploring our full potential. Here's something to ask yourself. Are you truly living or just existing, trapped in a life of comfortable mediocrity, because the fear of loneliness is stronger than the desire to explore the unknown? Now that we understand how destructive the fear of being alone can be, the question is, how can we overcome it? The answer lies in changing our perspective on solitude. First, we need to understand that being alone is not the same as being lonely. Solitude is a choice, an opportunity for introspection, growth, and self-discovery. When we learn to value our own time, we realize that being alone can be an enriching experience rather than something to be feared. Additionally, we must remember that the ability to be alone is a sign of strength, not weakness. Studies show that people who are comfortable with themselves tend to be more resilient, more creative, and more successful in their interpersonal relationships. This happens because they are not afraid of being alone and therefore do not engage in relationships or situations that do not meet their standards and values. Finally, by facing the fear of loneliness, we make room for true personal growth. Instead of constantly seeking the company of others, we begin to seek our own company. And that's where true transformation happens. In this video, we've explored how the fear of being alone can negatively influence our lives on multiple levels, from our relationships to our physical and mental health. We've discovered that this fear prevents us from growing, from knowing ourselves, and from living fully. But by facing it, we can open doors to a more authentic and meaningful life. So the final question is, will you continue to live in fear, or are you ready to embrace solitude as a powerful ally on the journey to discovering who you truly are?